And I would tell any young woman or even an older woman, I would say to you, your life does matter. You have more in you than you can ever imagine. You just need to take the time, get in a quiet place, and sit down and think a few minutes about what the gifts that you have that God has given you that you have not used. Gifts that people have told you they are no more good, you can't use them. But I am a living witness. You can have boxes of dreams, but if you do not get up from your place of faith and start walking towards your dream, then the dream will never happen. But it only takes one step. And a lot of times, all we need is one step, and then somebody will come beside us and help us to make the next step. So I would say to you, the Lord is the answer, but He's not going to make you get up and do it. You got to get up out of your seat and start looking at what it is that He has put in your heart to do.
Sisters, hey, little girl, are you looking for hope? In a world that has lied to you about who you really are. Wrong woman, holding in story she needs to tell.
So happy to make available to you the No More Lies guided workbook and healing journal. Here's a quick peek inside that will help you get your own copy to see what we've been talking about and having a place to write your thoughts as you remember your little girl, identify the lies, find the truth, and then rehearse that truth so that you can walk into the purpose God has called you to. Go to stacyspeakshope.com and order your copy today. Thank you and God bless.
Hello and welcome back to Staci Speaks Hope. We're here to hear another little girl story from I'll call you Dr. Shirley. I'm elevating you in the spirit. From Shirley Breedlove. This amazing woman of God is a passionate life coach. She has a podcast and she is committed to helping others discover their healing, hope, and purpose. She has a background of over 40 years in the mental health care field. She brings wisdom, compassion, and insight to everything she does. She's a founder of Street Corner, a faith-based outreach dedicated to empowering homeless individuals, mentoring youth, supporting veterans, and serving those who are mentally ill through training, housing, and purpose-driven programs. Woo, Miss Shirley. At 88 years young, she continues to inspire others with her message. It's never too late to dream again. She's written books, she hosts workshops, and her coaching program is called Dream Again. Her podcast is Dare to Dream with the number 2, and we'll drop all that for you to follow her. She encourages people of all ages to overcome pain, empower their purpose, and to build a legacy of faith and impact. It is our honor to share the stage, the microphone with Ms. Shirley Breedlove today. Thank you for coming. Welcome. And
Well,
how are you
thank you for
today?
having me.
You are welcome.
Yes.
So we're going to hear all about the many things you're doing and let our audience be able to engage with your story. Shirley, tell me, what do you know? What do you remember about your little girl?
Well, my little girl, one of the things that really excite me about it, because when you're being a little girl, sometimes you don't realize all of the things that go on with you as being a little girl. But one of the things that depressed me so much about being a little girl, and I called it being in a bubble, because I was raised in a house where both of my parents were saved, uh, where everything was just beautiful. I know we ate out of china dishes and crystal glasses and ate with silverware. And my mother was a seamstress, and so she sewed everything. She made chair covers, draperies like you make at J.C. Penney's. My mother used to make those.
Oh.
Uh, we always say my mom was an entrepreneur because she taught music. She was a music teacher. My father was just, to him, he did he worked for like the coal dock. He did working on trucks and different things. But all my life that I lived with my parents, I never heard those people argue. And to me today, I'm like, well, wonder did they ever disagree on anything? I could still hear my daddy going through the house calling my mom his little doll. They
Oh,
just got along so good. And then my niece, and I was raised with my niece, my brother, and a sister. We were all raised together. And I was asking my niece, I don't even remember us having an argument. Our house was just, it was just, it should have been the perfect house. And in a way, it was perfect, but it wasn't perfect for me because I was always just that little imperfect person that was always looking for something outside of what everybody else was doing. I got more beatings than anybody else. I stayed in trouble all of the time because I was always trying to do something that I wasn't supposed to be doing. It worked pretty good, me being in a bubble. I stayed in that bubble really until I probably was like 16, started going to high school. Because see, the church that I belonged to, they didn't believe that you were supposed to go out and mingle with other people from other churches. So the only people that we mingled with was the people in the church that we went to. My mom and dad entertained people, but they were people from the church. We couldn't even play with the children in the neighborhood because they referred to them as the worldly children. So we couldn't play with any of them. And we never realized it was in it. We just went along with it because that's what we did. That was the way we were raised. And then when I went to high school, my parents allowed me to play basketball at the recreation center down the street. That was not a good idea for them, but I think they were trying to give me a little bit of room because I was always trying to take some. And so I was a basketball player played basketball.
okay.
But this is what happened. And recently, probably the last 15 years, I just realized because I've been working with people with trauma and abuse for years.
Mhm.
I never realized that abuse takes on different formats.
Mm.
So here I am, this little young girl walking down the street, this man in the car is driving by me. He's a military person, and he's driving, he's talking to me, and I'm still walking down the street, going to the recreation center. I should have went home and told my parents, but he just kept talking, and he would follow. He followed me.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
today if somebody follows you like that, that's supposed to be. Well, I didn't even know what. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't even know what danger was. That's what I'm telling you. That's what a bubble is. When you don't have any, I have no sense of danger. I had never even been in danger. So I didn't know danger when I saw it.
Wow.
And
Huge.
huh?
I said that is huge.
Well, that's what happens when you're in a bubble. And
Yeah.
I said this because a lot of people try to raise their kids like that, but it looks like a perfect place, but it's a dangerous place because the child doesn't even know danger when they see it.
Right.
It's probably even more so now that danger because we have television and all those things, and schools talk about danger. But nobody talked about any danger during the time I came up. I never even heard anybody getting killed or anything like that when I came up.
Wow.
So you're talking about a time when it was a whole different environment it is now. But anyway, this man, he kept talking to me, kept talking to me. And then he came back later and he's talking to me. And, he was telling me, he said, well, come on, go for a ride. Well, you're 17, 16 years old. I rode my parents. A lot of people didn't have cars. My parents had a car. But you don't get into cars. Well, we just going for a ride. And I started dating this man that was in the military. My parents didn't know it.
Wow. How old was
Yes.
he?
I don't even know how old he was. I know he was in the military though.
So he's
He
at
was
least
grown.
18, right?
Huh?
At least 18.
Oh, he was older than that. I'm sure he was in his 20s. He might have been older than that.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know. But anyway, start dating him. First time I ever had anything to drink. Oh, have a little beer, a little one, I'm telling you, it was, and I was just excited because the only thing that I had to compare him with, and I tell people today, I don't look at harlequins. The only thing that I had to compare him with was the books that I used to read called My True Story. You probably don't know them, but there used to be a book that they sold with all the perfect lives in it, where they talk about people that had these problems, but their problems always ended up, we live happily ever after. I don't look at them today because it's not true.
That's so funny. That's like today's version of social media.
Yeah, it's not true. So I don't entertain it because I know what it does. It's a spirit of deception. And that's what I call it now. I didn't know it was deception during that time. And I did not know about people who help and who target children.
Yes.
They target children for abuse. And
Yes.
that's really what that was. But I didn't know that was what it was. But anyway, I got pregnant. And he told my mom that he was in love with he told my parents he was in love with someone else. So being at the house that I was in and in the church I was in, I couldn't stay at my home with my parents. No, I couldn't stay home with my parents because that was a disgrace. I mean, you're talking about,
Yeah.
this is back in the day. This is a disgrace to the home, to the church, and to everybody. And so my mom and dad, they were so nice even about that. They sent me to live with my aunt, her cousin, and I stayed there until my daughter was born. And then after my daughter was born, I wanted to go back home, but I couldn't just go back home. See, people don't know that you can't leave and just go back home sometimes. I couldn't just go back home because people at church was talking and everybody in the community is talking. So you really can't go back home. So what can you do? I met somebody, met this young man, and we laughed about it many years later. I met him, and we started dating, and then we got married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that was my way back home. I
Yeah.
could get home. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just to pause because in this whole journey that we talk about and the workbook that God gave me is helping the little girl find the lies that
Mm-hmm.
became the truth.
Right.
The first lie is you're always safe, that whole bubble thing that you didn't even understand the concept of
Mm-hmm.
safety versus danger. The second one was you can't come back home if you've fallen, if you've sinned. You were taken advantage of, actually. You were the
Mm-hmm.
victim, actually, by a pedophile,
Right.
and you were the one that was banished from the community, exiled.
I was.
And
And
then
I
just by being gone, people were talking about you.
and I act like I was in exile.
I bet. Well, what did that
I
feel
did.
like? What did that even feel like?
I stayed angry. I'm telling you, I was angry for a very long time. I was just angry. And it's one of my things even today that I said to people, if someone has fallen, why wouldn't you embrace them instead of sending them away? But they didn't know any better.
Right.
They were taught that. They didn't know any better.
That's true.
And I'm sure they never ever said anything negative to me. Not ever did they say anything. But everybody else did. And they talked about me and said all kinds of things. I wasn't no good, and I won't go. Oh, this stuff that they would say. I was like,
All lies.
yeah, they are. They all a lie. You're not gonna ever amount to anything. That was the
Mhm.
word. And
Yeah.
these were not people on the street. These are people at church. These weren't people on the street. People on the street.
That bubble
I think
turned in on you, didn't it? That whole bubble thing.
it did. It really did. And I called it, and I gave that the name when I was doing a chapter in a book uh, that some friends of ours we wrote,
Uh-huh.
because I realized that is a bubble that you're in. But the bubble was all about deception.
Ooh.
It is a lie. All of it
Whole
was a lie.
thing. Ooh.
Whole
I mean,
thing.
chills. Literally, I have chills. Because
No,
that's the whole false sense of we're better than everybody else. Those bad kids out there,
mhm.
all of that. Ooh.
Yeah, and I say that because a lot of time, the church during that time, I don't know what, I mean, I guess some of them still do it today. They called themselves they're protecting you from what was outside. by not even allowing you to know what's out there is not a way to protect your children.
You got to teach them how to deal with it.
Yes, you do. You have to teach them how to deal with it. So he told me that he married me because he thought we were rich. And I married
Wanted to
him
get
because
back
I wanted to
home,
get,
and he wanted to get your money.
yes, I'm telling you, it didn't last long, and I had a son once. We had one son. So that didn't last. It wasn't going to last. And then my life just took a spiral. I mean, I just got meaner and started drinking and just going out. And I was just like somebody uh, lost. That's what I was. I was just lost. Didn't know where I was going. So then I met my second husband. And the problem with the second husband, meeting the second husband, is you haven't got any healing. You know, you're going right. And he was coming out of marriage. He don't have any healing. So
Been there, done that. Know about that.
yes, well, I met him. And the thing about it was, we were living in Virginia, uh, but he wanted to go back home to his home. And I told him, I said, well, I can't stay in Virginia because I have to get away from here. So I moved to Philadelphia. And so when I tell people that I'm from Philly, I tell people I'm from Philly because I got saved in Philly. That's really was the beginning of a whole new life for me. But life was hell till then. I can tell you the things that I had to go through, the places that I had, I just couldn't get nothing together. Time you put your foot on one thing, it would go this way. And time you get, I mean, my life was like, it was just upside down. And I was drinking. And I used to tell people, I said, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. And I hear people say it today. I've worked with them. I don't drink. I don't drink every day. I just drink on the weekends. You know the good drunk. And the good drunk drank good whiskey. You're still an alcoholic, no matter what but having to face that is really challenging.
Right.
It came to an end too. It came to an end. All of those years of after me and my husband, we got married, and then we had two children. So that meant we had four children. And I tell you, my daughter, my oldest daughter, she told me, because I was still drinking, she said she told somebody, they saw me on the street one day, and she said, they said, we saw your mother. She said, that's not my mother. She told me, that's not my mother. My mother died. That's my aunt. She's raising me.
Oh, wow. Woo. When did you
Pitiful.
find that out? Did you know that? How long ago
No,
did
I didn't. No, she told me
oh,
that
you
later.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
she
that was
wouldn't have told.
like, oh, your heart.
No, she wouldn't have told me that during that season because I would have really got on her if she'd have told me that. But
The
it was
angry
just a
Shirley would have
help.
got her.
Oh yeah, I would have got it. But that's the way my life was one turmoil after another. And alcohol, although I worked every day, never didn't work. I didn't drink during the week, but on the weekend, I drank the whole weekend. And I say that because a lot of times people think that that's okay if you do that because there's no addiction connected to it, but that's not true. All of those are addictions.
Yeah.
But we went on, and the crisis really came in my life to cause me to get saved. And I tell people, uh, relationships can cause you to get saved or get unsaved. One of the two. And I'm telling you, that relationship was cracked all down to the seams of it. Oh, so much deception, so much lying, so much cheating, so much stuff going on. And here I am. I'm already mad. I'm really angry.
Right.
When I find out this person too, now, hey, you're gonna be doing all this, and not only, I say this to when I'm working with women. Sometimes I ask them the question, "Well, did you ever sense any of this?" And they'll say, "Well, I kind of knew it, but I think it's different when you know it, but when everybody else gets to know it, it really is a problem."
Right. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's really what happened to me. Everybody else got to know what was going on because my play sister was living with me, and she called all the way back to Virginia to tell my mother what was going on. And honey, it was like fire brewing in here. I'm telling you. And I tell people even to today, I was telling somebody my testimony, and they said, "Do you think you would really have killed your husband?" I said, "Just as sure as day, I would have killed him That's the reason why you don't need weapons, because a lot of crime have crimes of passion.
Yes, yes.
And people don't plan to kill a person, but when people are in a moment of passion and you have the availability, you will hurt somebody.
Right.
But the thing about it that got to me was one of the girls on my job, she started witnessing to me and telling me all about Jesus. And Shirley, you need to go back to Jesus. Well, I'd never been to Jesus, so I didn't know what she was
Go
talking
back. There was no back.
Want no back to Jesus? I went to church every day, but that's not Jesus. That's just going to church. And I went. We
There.
went to church. Huh?
I said that right there. That's huge to
Yes, it
even
is. We
make
went.
that distinction. Even that lie.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, that's a
go to
lie.
church. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, but I don't know personally. You said back to relationship, that real relationship.
I never heard a word about relationship until I had a relationship. And I tell people, I am the first person that I know was a sinner and Jesus saved. Everybody else I met, they were already saved. But I know he saves because
Wow.
that's the difference,
Yeah.
is when you know it for yourself.
Yes.
And that particular night, I'm sitting on the doorstep waiting for my husband to come home, drunk as a fish, because I don't heard what he did. And I've gone to my friend's house and I'm asking them for a gun and they wouldn't give me a gun. So I went home and waited on for him on the doorstep. I was going to kill him. I'm sitting on the doorstep.
Wow.
I was sitting right out there. And he comes down the street. What you doing outside?
Waiting for you.
I was. And I'm confronting him and he was like, that didn't really happen to him. And I'm telling you, I was so, but that's the first time I think I ever came in contact with hate.
Ooh.
That is a bad, I mean, I knew that at that moment I would really have destroyed him if I had the opportunity.
Wow.
Well, he's way bigger than me. I couldn't hit him and do nothing. But I mean, if I'd have had something, I really still believe that I would have done that. But the Lord is so gracious to me. And I tell people, I say, God loves drunks. People think he doesn't. But I was as drunk as any, I tell people drunk as a fish, but I was drunk as anybody you ever wanted to see, sitting on the doorstep, going to kill somebody. And the Lord spoke to me that night.
Wow.
I literally heard the voice of God speaking to me that night. And he said, you can stay in the same place that you are, or you can start today and have a new life. I can hear it just like it was yesterday.
Ooh, that brings tears to my eyes.
It was
That's
so
so
powerful.
beautiful.
It was. And it stays with me even today. And I got up that night, went out and threw up all of that whiskey that was in me. And that was over 50 years ago. I've
That
never
was
drank things
that was
since.
deliverance.
It was.
Threw up
It
the
was.
spirits, not just the
Yeah.
little ones, but
It was just,
the other kind.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Lord just has been so good and gracious to me. And I think that that's the reason why uh, when I will tell you about the dream. I love school. Even to today, I'm always learning. I'm in school doing something, learning something. And I didn't get my high school diploma. And I always wanted to go back to get my high school diploma. Me and my husband did not get a divorce. He left and came back, and we had uh, three children when he came back. We had three children when he came back. And but I had such great hope. I had such great uh, support systems. The church that I went to really literally was a part of the church that I grew up in, but it was in a different place. It was in Philadelphia, and just such a good support system of people that I had there. And even to today, I still love prayer meetings because that's something that really carried me through some very challenging days in my life. And I learned through the things that I went through how to love people who were unlovable. And I think God took those pains. I just did a podcast on purpose and pain, but I think he took those pain that I experienced to give me compassion because I could have never been a social worker coming out of the house that I came out. Now, my mom and them, they were social workers. My mom was a social worker. She was all over the place. But see, my mom wasn't dealing with what I was dealing with. And the things that I had to deal with. I really believe that the life that I went through prepared me for the life that I even live today. Because I really am focused on helping people to have hope. Because when a person is already down, they don't need you to push them down.
Yeah.
And I still said today, if those people who saw me struggling, those Christians that saw me struggling, had to come to me and say, you know, Shirley, Jesus loves you. I said that because I know that that works. I've told so many people that were in the worst state. It's healing to tell somebody some hope. There's no healing in telling me you're not going to be any good because you can't decide what I'm going to be.
Right. Not up to you. And it's just, this is a good place to pause as we talk about uncovering the lies, at
Mm-hmm.
the layers of lies of this bubble is the everything. You can't play with those kids out there. You go out and the deception was easy to lay on you that this man wanted to have a relationship with you as a child
Mm-hmm.
and all that came from that, then you were blamed. So that one lie after another. And then after all of that, people then spoke that word curse over you that you'll
Mm-hmm.
never be anything, you'll never do anything, you'll never amount to anything. I mean, those phrases cut down into your little girl heart
Mm-hmm.
who always wanted something different. God made you different. You
Yeah, he did.
brought that out, and that's so there was something that boldness, that difference, that hunger for greater that was
Mm-hmm.
always there. The enemy tried to take it and use it, but then God said, "I'm going to give you a heart of compassion
Mm-hmm.
because of what you've experienced, because somebody said simple words to you." Because basically, the other message was, "Surely you're unlovable."
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Uncovering the lie is, "Oh, yes, I am, because Jesus loves me."
Mm-hmm.
And how that changed everything. Now look where you are and what you do and all the lives you're able to touch today
Mm-hmm.
by
Yes.
uncovering and dismantling and canceling that lie. So I just want to frame that so as our listeners are watching this, they can make those connections as they look at their own healing journey, as their own lives and the things
Yes.
that God has brought them through. Sister, you do matter. You are worthy. You are lovable.
Yes.
You are already loved. You've been loved the whole time.
Yes. And I tell women that, and men too, because men go through it too, where they have been just trampled on, even by community and society,
Yeah.
which looks down on them because of whether it's their color or whether it's how they look or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But I do know that I remember when I was in graduate school, one of the young men that was in class with us, he was asking us, did they have a class on compassion and empathy?
Oh, nope.
You can't buy
It's called the
it.
Bible. If you find
Yeah,
it in
you
there.
yes, but a lot of people don't understand that the pain that we go through has a purpose behind it. It
Mhm.
really does when we give that purpose to God
There it
and
is.
He brings it about. Because I know when I went back to school, I had all seven of my children, uh, and we were living in Philadelphia. Had seven children. When I got a GED, I had my last son was born, and then I went to Temple University. I got my GED there,
Mm,
and was able to get my master's and bachelor's from Temple University. But one of the things that I relate to people is you need a community in anything that you're doing.
yes.
The community that I had in my friends in the community, the friends at church, they just they stuck by me. They would pick my children up. They would fix meals. They did, but those are the blessings that come to us, in life. And I tell people, you can choose to be bitter or you can choose to forgive. I made a choice to forgive people and
Yeah.
everything, and I still do. Even today, I still make a choice to forgive people because there's nothing no worse to me than a mean old person.
Right. I love that because to go back to those people who spoke that over you, even as a young person who, again, wasn't anywhere near at fault, but
Mm-mm,
just unaware, uneducated, ill prepared to go out into the world and to be able to release your heart from holding on to that pain, that anger, that rage, that hate that you felt even at that time for your ex-husband. So important. He's an ex, right? Did you guys
No,
end?
no, no,
Oh,
no, no,
as you said,
no.
you didn't divorce. I said, wait, I'm misspeaking on that.
No, we didn't.
You
We didn't get a
forgave him.
divorce. We at one point we were separated. Well, like two or three times we were separated.
Okay.
Uh, but no, we lived together. Actually, he came. I moved back to Virginia, which I'm at now after a separation,
Mhm.
and that was just a whole different thing because he used to speak negative things to me and say all kinds of
Mm.
things to me. But I found out the reason why he said it, those things was because that's the way he felt. And when people are telling you all those things, it's because they have a pain they haven't dealt with.
Woo. Yeah. And to
Yeah.
know that, that gives you a place to be compassionate toward them about.
Yeah, yeah, you
Like, it's
are.
not this is not a me thing. This is a you thing, boo.
Yeah. Well, it is, and one of the things that, I learned so many things during that whole relationship that I've had to even take even to today is that one of the key things for me was uh not to be have a whole lot to say. Sometimes we got to talk a whole lot. And when you talk a whole lot, you said things that you don't need to say. But I learned that lesson in that marriage, how to I don't have to talk if he's upset, then I don't have to talk. But
Right.
he's not going to stay upset, so I can talk to him later.
That's
Those
wisdom.
are things. Those are things that I learned. I still carry them to today. Uh, Not to have to hurry up and say something because somebody's speaking wrong to us.
That's
But anyway, just going through the whole process, and recently, what the last 3 or 4 years, I became a healing of the soul ministry, a
mm,
part of that ministry, and that's what we do with that ministry. That's another whole ministry where we bring people as receivers into our counseling session. It's a whole group of us, and what we do is we counsel people who really need their souls healing. A lot of people in the body of Christ are hurting
yes.
and have not been healed.
Yeah.
And they trying to live on without getting that inner healing. But our soul has to be healed from pains and strikes and hurts and only person I know the one that can heal it because he healed me.
Yes. Amen.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So, what would you say to the woman who hears your story and says, "Ooh, that sounds like me," who has yet to begin her healing journey? What advice, what encouragement, what would you share with her?
Well, I go back to the reason that I have my podcast. It's called Dare to Dream. And I would tell any young woman or even an older woman, I would say to you, your life does matter. You have more in you than you can ever imagine. You just need to take the time, get in a quiet place, and sit down and think a few minutes about what the gifts that you have that God has given you that you have not used. Gifts that people have told you they are no more good, you can't use them. But I am a living witness. You can have boxes of dreams, but if you do not get up
Mm.
from your place of faith and start walking towards your dream, then the dream will never happen. But it only takes one step. And a lot of times, all we need is one step, and then somebody will come beside us and help us to make the next step. So I would say to you, the Lord is the answer, but He's not going to make you get up and do it. You got to get up out of your seat and start looking at what it is that He has put in your heart to do. What are you passionate about? Maybe you're passionate about what you already have gone through, the things you have suffered. What a wonderful way to give that gift back to another woman, another man. It is an awesome gift to show.
Thank you so much. That is golden, golden
Yeah.
words. And I know our listeners will appreciate that. I'm
Well,
going
thank you
to
so much for
you're
having me today.
oh, you're so welcome. For our audience, if you heard something that inspired you, I'm going to ask you to write dream again in the chat, in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video because there's somebody you know that's waiting, needing to hear this story, needing this encouragement, who has boxes of dreams, as Miss Shirley says,
Mhm.
and they're afraid to take that first step. So this is an opportunity to share this, let them hear something that maybe they can't even hear from you. to change their life, to get them on course. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for blessing us with your words of wisdom, Miss Shirley.
Thank you
And
for having me.
you are so welcome. Until we meet in person one day, please come back again to the audience and be blessed. Thank you for watching Staci Speaks Hope. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Grown woman holding in story she needs to tell what God really wants you to do in this world. In his name, hope to break free from the shackles and the lies that have become your truth and put blinders on your eyes. You built walls around your heart. You have plugged up your ears. Get freedom to hope's what you need. It's in reach. Wipe your tears, little girl.